You're now listening to the Young, Educated, and Uncertain podcast with your host, Rashad Young.
What's going on, podcast family? Yeah. Don't write to the song, but shout out to my bro Nova, man. Turn that real quick. Make sure you check out his freestyle, that Glock freestyle out right now, man, on Instagram and YouTube. Saint Lou. It's that loose Saint. All right. Hey, man, appreciate y'all, man, tuning in, man. Another episode of the Young Educator Uncertain podcast, episode 39. I'm going to play this in the background because I'm showing so much love, man. No, I'm not trying. I don't get money off this. I'm just showing love, I promise you. So I don't own the rights to this song, none of that, man. But appreciate y'all so much, man, tuning in to another episode 39, as I mentioned, man. But first, man, give it up for yourself. Get up for yourself, man. New 24 hours, another day to be great and enjoy this thing that we call life, man. Today, I'm honored to have somebody that I consider a brother, man. It's definitely somebody I look up to in this podcasting game, and my brother Izzy, man. Izzy Baker, St. Louis native, Houston legend, man, doing this thing in the podcasting world and also in the education field, and also him being a mental health enthusiast, man. He does so much, man. He has a podcast called the PSA podcast. Definitely doing numbers dope. Got a lot of dope conversations, so make sure you check that out, man. But we dive into a lot of things regarding podcasting, his journey, everything else that's going on, man. So I appreciate him so much for joining, man. But anybody interested in doing a podcast, I definitely would recommend you listening to this interview. Right, listening to this on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, wherever. Also watching this on YouTube or Instagram. Make sure you check it out, man, because definitely gonna learn a lot about how this game goes and also the grind, everything it takes from it. Also just finding your why and finding your calling, man. Definitely learned a lot more about Izzy than I thought. That's not a bad thing. Just definitely knowing that these conversations are always happening organic. Just definitely appreciate it, man. So hope y'all enjoyed this episode, man. And as always, make sure to subscribe and like it on your favorite audio platform. Also subscribe to it on YouTube or follow me on Instagram. So that being said, appreciate y'all so much, man. Until next time, peace. All right, we live, man. I'm here with somebody, man. That's a real legend in the game, for real. Somebody that I've been looking at for a while. Somebody that I do admire, especially in the space of podcasting, man. I always like to give people their flowers, especially for doing something so long. I know you've been doing it for a while, man. But I'm here with a St. Louis native. You're in Houston now, right?
Right.
Okay, Houston. You live in Houston now. We always gonna rep the Lou. I see you got the Lou hat on with my boy Izzy, man. Izzy, how you doing, bro?
Man, I'm chilling. What's the word?
Hey, man, it's crazy. I feel like it's like my first time really like meeting you like in person, like virtual. Like I know who you are, but like just to see you in the space having a conversation, I feel like this is like a real first time, man. So it's definitely dope to really chop it up with you, man. How, everything good?
Yeah, everything is good. You know, it's funny because I feel like I've met you in person before. That's the funny thing. I don't know where at.
You went to Lutheran North though, right?
Right.
Okay, let's go back. When did you graduate?
12.
Graduated in 12. So you probably know Tony. You probably know Glenn and that like core people. I graduated in 13. You know Ashton?
Yeah.
You know Chris Davis?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm cool with them. You know Nick Bowman, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Cool with him. Okay, yeah. So we know each other. You probably see me in Crossing.
Yeah, I feel like I met you before, but I don't know. But I feel like I have.
Nah, so it's all good, man. But how's the 2020 year, man? First of all, before we get into that, man, let people know who you are, man. Let people know who you are and what you do.
Okay, so Izzy Baker, podcast extraordinaire. Well, not yet, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Fake comedian.
Okay.
I clown all day. Mental health enthusiast, not an expert enthusiast.
Okay.
I am school teacher by day, podcaster by every day and night because, I don't just do it at night. I do it in the day too.
Okay. Yes, sir.
What else you want to know?
Hey, man, I want people to know about you, man, because I feel like you are a real, genuine dude. And I've been listening to your podcast past, I would say probably a year and a half since I've kind of reconnected. So when I first decided to do my own solo one, you was one of the first people I listened to just to see what it was like. I mean, obviously I did one of my brothers. We did Medium Lit for a while. But I was like, in my own personal way, I was like, what I want to talk about doesn't necessarily fit in with that group. So I'm always about being consistent and stuff like that, man. But I'm like, to do it solo, I know it's a lot different. I don't think a lot of people understand that that's.
Yeah, they don't.
They really don't understand, man. But how How did you get into this space of podcasting? How did you get into this whole realm? How did you get into being a mental health enthusiast? And all these things,
So basically, I tell people all the time, PSA originally started off as a blog.
okay.
And I remember, I never forget this. I remember it was 2017. I was a substitute teacher at the time,
Okay.
in between jobs, had graduated, and my dad had called me. It was like, you're a real creative person. You're a writer. You should do something, a blog or something like that. So,
Yeah.
I said, okay. So I started a blog, and it was the same name, Prodigy Sportive Attestations, PSA. And it was modeled after The Best Week Ever. Remember that show that used to come on VH1?
Yep.
It was modeled after that, but it was in blog form. So it was the same format, me taking hot topics of the week, commenting on it, clowning it, basically. And I just couldn't keep up with it. Like I tried, and it just never worked. So I would do it for some weeks, and I've always find an excuse to take a week off. So I said, well, you know what? I like the name. I'm gonna keep the name, but I'm gonna kind of take a little break and see what I can do with it. So that's when I was just took a break. So I took a break in like maybe July or August.
Yep.
I think the last one I did was August. And I said, well, I'm gonna just, give it to God basically, because there's nothing I can do. And I gave it to him. I relaxed, and I just I was hearing YouTube and I was hearing podcasts. And I was like, okay. So this is before I had lost weight. So I was like, I don't think I'm really ready, camera ready, my opinion. So I was hearing like, you need to do that podcast. People need to hear your voice. So I took the name, and then as somebody who overcame severe anxiety in general anxiety and severe depression. So I was on paper. I didn't diagnose myself. I was on paper at the clinic at Texas Southern University. And I always been a very opinionated person, a person whose comments were a little different than everybody else's, and one who, I like to say I'm the villain in real life. So I took it to, I ended up finally creating a podcast. The idea came forward. God delivered one night, literally one night. It was one night I was supposed to go out, and I ain't go out. And I was just laying in bed, and it was like they just start down. All the ideas start just downloading.
Yep.
And started the first episode in February of 2018, and we season 4.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Hey, talk to me about the aspect, if you mind sharing, just your experience with mental health, man. Because you mentioned on paper, which I feel like a lot of us, a lot of times, man, we diagnose ourselves with those things. Why do you think we do that? Just based off your own experience. Like, I mean, I think we all deal with anxiety and depression, but why do you think we label ourselves with those things?
Well, unfortunately, we have this beautiful thing called the internet. And the internet is our best friend. And I feel like the internet is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Because it was a meme I saw some weeks ago. It was like, I got a headache. And they said WebMD, and it'll be your last. So we be trying to diagnose ourselves, and it's like, man, don't do that, because you're gonna make it 10 times worse. So that's something I actually to this day still struggle with. Like, if I'm feeling some type of way, like I had looked up something before when something told me I had cancer. So I'm like, now let me chill out. Let me just stop trying to diagnose myself. I think we do it because it's convenience. It's right there. So it's easy to just, get online and look up, okay, I got the symptoms. I'm coughing like this. I'm sneezing like this. My chest hurt. My back hurt. What is it? And then lo and behold, we got cancer. So I think that it's best that we just kind of relax. When you're feeling away, don't just jump to the internet, because I'm telling you, you're going to be writing your will. It is just not a good feeling. But but to answer your question, that was a long version. But
no, you're good. You're good.
Is convenience.
I never thought about it like that. I remember when it was about 2017 when I just graduated from school. The doctors thought that's what I was experiencing. They put me on anti-anxiety pills or whatever. It was called lorazepam, man. That stuff had me all over the place. But that's when I wrote my first book during that whole time, just because I had to use something, man, as an outlet. Right. And I always said in the book, like, I was like, man, like I was going through anxiety and depression, but they never fully told me that's what I had. That's just what I was feeling. That was the first time I felt overwhelmed with so many different things. And I was just confused, just like everybody else, man. You're just trying to find your way out of it, man. So for you to do that, first of all, that just says a lot about you to just continue to keep going. So definitely, appreciate you sharing your story with that. But I want to talk to you about the podcasting aspect, man, because me and you got very similar views. You've been doing this a little bit longer, so I always know I got ways to go, man. But I see a lot of people talking about they want to do a podcast. They have all the things, so they have this idea, but they never fully commit to that action. You get what I'm saying? So, like, learning what you know now within your 2 years, going on 3 years of podcasting, what is something you would share to somebody that is interested in doing a podcast?
Definitely find out your why. Why do you want to do it? I listen to, and it's funny because I'm doing tonight my after show. That's
Yes,
something I do.
I've been watching those. Pretty good.
Yeah, appreciate it. Man, it's funny. Me and her went to college together. We just be clowning.
Gotcha.
But basically, and I was listening to the podcast. I got a review for the after show, and she was talking about how her why. She just said she felt powerful, and if it gave her power to just give a platform to give her a voice, and something else she mentioned, which I'm gonna mention on the after show, when she said, I was listening and looking up for podcasts, and I couldn't find one that I really wanted like that had everything that I wanted, so I created it. So for me, I feel like if you want to start a podcast, look for something that everybody doing, because you gotta do something that's different than everybody else. So you find something that only you do, and just kind of go with it like that. Like, it's okay, maybe you are doing a podcast that's covering sports, but what about sports that you gonna do that nobody else is doing? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you, and just an example, and I'm told you, I'm creative director for free until 2021. So y'all can take all these ideas and I ain't gonna charge you. But 2021, I'm running up a check. Like, I'm not doing that.
Oh.
But yeah. So you could do, maybe you the sports guy, and maybe you also commenting on what Buddy got on, what kind of shoes he got on. I don't know. Something that ain't nobody else doing. That's how you got to do it.
Yeah. I feel that. I know we had a conversation before we got started, man. We was talking about the idea of taking breaks. I think one thing that is important is you got to be consistent. You have a different view on that. What are your views on the idea of taking breaks for podcasting? And how do you stay keep going even after taking a break?
For me, this is I know for sure my calling. You've been told to me that this is the platform that's going to take me to the next level. And I still want to do podcasts. I never saw myself doing a podcast, but I definitely, it's funny that I'm where I'm at. I definitely know it's going to go as long as God wants it to go. But it's definitely a good podcast. It's different than most. I feel like I incorporate some things that other people do, but I definitely, if you listen, I have my own twist that nobody else really do. Yes. So for me, what keeps me going is just, I enjoy it. That's the main thing. I feel like this generation is breaking that curse of, oh, I got a good job with benefits. Now, don't get it twisted. Some people, they like that. That's them. But that's not a lot of us. And a lot of us were just raised on that. So we think that's what we're supposed to do. But that ain't for me. Like, I got it now, but that's not going to be me forever. So, I found something that I've always been a clown. I've always wanted to entertain and be in front, since I was a little kid. I remember my parents told me a story about how I imitated something Barney did. And I took the curtain rod and a medicine cap, and that was the top hat, and I did the whole routine, and I don't even remember that. So,
No, that's good, man, because I think it's important. You mentioned the word calling, and I feel like everybody has one. I think a lot of us are very distracted, or we're afraid to understand what that comes with it. Like when you're on this journey, especially with podcasting and being creative, I feel like there is a moment where you deal with different moments of doubt, like questioning. So how do you deal with those times? If you have dealt with those times, how do you deal with those times of doubt?
So basically, I definitely have dealt with it. I think we all have. Anytime you call to do something, first of all, especially if it's God-given, it's going to be a pushback. because that's something that is going to go to the next. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with stuff, because kind of personal, but I don't smoke weed no more. So I stopped June, had a few relapses here and there. June of 2019, had a few relapses here and there. Then I did an edible in May, and that officially made it to where I'm like, nah.
You had a bad trip?
Yeah, I never did. But basically, I'm officially off it.
That's good.
But when I was doing it, I would always get real bad anxiety. It wasn't always like that, but like in the later years, it was. Yeah, and I remember I was really contemplating, like, why am I doing this podcast stuff? Like, I really was on something. I'm finna just stop it. I'm finna just be a teacher. I'm finna be low key. You know me, you follow me. I'm not a low key person. That's just I am, but I'm not. But so I was like, I'm just gonna be low key. I'm just gonna be a teacher. Finna delete my social media. I came with all these things I was gonna do because I was like, why am I doing this? This ain't, Eventually, obviously, I sobered up, and I was like, I was tripping, and with that, it was just like, okay, this whole podcast and stuff, I know it because I get excited to do it. It's like my regular job. I'm always looking for a reason to take off. If I cough too hard, I ain't going. But with my podcast stuff, I feel like I'd be like, bro, I can't miss no week. And like, I'd be like, I'm gonna just miss this week. Like, I think this past week, the week before, I had missed a week. I hadn't missed a week in like 3.5 months because I just been on it. And to the point where I was recording in advance because, I started doing the Zoom stuff. And then I just record them because I still do just audio episodes too. So I think for me, it was just that, again, if you know something you're called to do and something you're passionate about, you're not gonna make excuses because you want to do it.
No,
it's kind of like a relationship, and people be looking for ways out, but I feel like y'all don't want to be there in the first place. So, I was listening to another podcast, and the homie was like, he said, I knew I was toxic when I was trying to keep a relationship I ain't even want.
That's crazy. Let's stay on this for a second, if you don't mind. I don't know your personal details as far as relationships, man, but I feel like that happens a lot, in particular when it comes to us as guys in our 20s trying to really figure out what we want to do. The idea of really going forth with something versus, this person over here who's trying to put together a family picture, whatever they want. I feel like that happens a lot where guys are like kind of stuck in the middle between like what they want to do. And then the person on the other side, like, well, what about me? Like, how would you deal with something like that? As you mentioned, you're very passionate about this, but you may have somebody on the other side who was trying to pull you in a different direction.
So basically for me, I've had the last relationship situation, I guess, was 2016 with this girl. And then it was another one right after. And I remember ended up telling her, and I feel bad because I told her, I was like, I had texted her one night. It was one night, so you know what that means. And I had texted her, and I said, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I said, I can't even do this with you. Like I ain't even finna keep playing you like that. And I said, I feel like it's just kind of was like, I'ma just, kind of fade away, and not in a bad way, because we still cool, because not unfortunately, that sounds bad. Friends with my friends, one thing to the people, don't date ain't nobody in your circle. It's just too much. And I had learned that in college, and then I ended up doing it again with another girl. I'm like, no, I can't do this. So right now I'm chilling, and like, people think you chilling, that means you just hoeing. Like me, I'm chilling. Like I be chilling. And it's like, especially since I lost weight, I ain't gonna lie, girls be shooting. They do. There be some ones I'll be like, hey, right. I'll be like, but I'm like, I don't want to.
I feel
I
that.
don't want to leave nobody down, because then my thing is, I can't find the ones that's, even though I'm chilling, but I be looking for the ones that be, just with it. That these ones be wanting boyfriends, and I be like, look,
yo,
I can't do this right for you right now. I ain't even gonna hold you.
I mean, I always think you gotta be honest with yourself, on situations. I just think that I think a lot of people run into, I don't know if it was you or somebody else. I think you made a post. Or you might have shared a post. You was talking about, your 20s or when you're supposed to be selfish, just that and the third. I think everybody has the right to be selfish in like their own way, whatever it is. I just feel like sometimes people don't allow you to be selfish on the things that you actually care about. That can actually be a benefit on both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like if they stay around, they hold you down. Like your successes come, I'm pretty sure you're gonna keep in mind like this person was supportive. Like people don't do that for real, man. So I mean, you're not wrong at all by that. But there's another piece of podcast I want to talk to you about, man. Everybody get into this, man, because they're focused on the money. So, they're just trying to make money. And again, not trying to put in your personal business, man, but you know the truth. Is it really easy to make money in the podcast when you first start off?
When you first start off, yes, yes and no. Yes, because if you are the person who already had a huge following and you got people who gonna just, you always had a big platform, people just gonna tune into whatever you do. Yeah. But if not, like me, I never had a big following on social media any kind. So I've really been growing it. And I looked, and it's so crazy. And I look at my streams now, and I remember when I first started, like I probably got the lowest out of anybody. I remember I was only getting like 10 listens like every 2 weeks. Like I wasn't, it was bad. And now to be, in the thousands monthly, it's still crazy to me. But it's definitely got to build it up, stay consistent. That's why I say talk about something you want to talk about. Don't try to conform and be like, okay, I'm gonna talk about gossip, and you don't like that. Or don't talk about sports. You don't like that. Talk about what you want to talk about, but just make sure you have your own twist to it. Because what I've learned people respect and people like about podcasts and really any of these creative like avenues is authenticity and who you are. Because it's going to be somebody that rock with it and it's going to be people that like it. Everybody don't like people that's raw and uncut. And there's a lot of people that do. Everybody don't like stuff that's educational. Some people that do. Some people don't like, stuff that, some people just want to listen to funny stuff. Some people want to listen to, it's podcasts and really YouTube channels, everything. It's stuff for gardening, people sitting around telling ghost stories, erotic fantasies. I mean, it's so much. And that's why I feel like this COVID situation was, I hate to say it was really a blessing in disguise because it did so much.
No, you know what I didn't think about that. I'm not gonna lie. I remember when it got to about March or April, and I remember that was like my first like wave of like discouragement. I was like, dang, I don't know what I'm about to do with this, just because you're trying to get people on, you're trying to figure out what to talk about, and also like you mentioned, try to stay authentic in your own way, man. And I think everybody tries to find a way to reinvent themselves so they can like fit everything. You want everybody to like it, but just truth be told, man, everybody's not gonna like what you talk about, man. It's just that's why you have so many out there, man. But no, I think you're right. It was a blessing in disguise because it made people kind of have to sit still. It made people have to be more creative. It made people have to really start collaborating, man. Because that's what I would truly want. I know everybody kind of in like their own competition lane, man. But it's so many of us, man, that are so creative, so smart, so talented, man. I don't see why we all could not collaborate in some space and be like, just one mega thing. You getting people on, your channel, I'm getting people on my way. You got something to say?
Keep going. I'm gonna have my twist to it.
Oh yeah, so just putting everybody together, man. I think that's really dope. But I'm gonna let you.
Yeah. So no, you got a great point. The thing with that is, unfortunately, you're absolutely right. Everybody's creative. We got all these different lanes and platforms, but everybody work ethic not the same.
Thanks.
That's why they tell you. I heard all the time growing up, you can't live with your friends, you can't work with them. And granted, of course, everybody in the creative space is not necessarily your friend,
right.
But it's just unfortunate because people don't be on the same stuff. Some people be trying to get over. Some people, like you said, they may put up these fronts. And I met people that you would never think in this industry who you would think is all, oh, I love it, but they doing it for the money. And that's all they trying to do it for. Mm-hmm. And so they trying to do it for the money and the fame and all that. And, you meet them in person and they not the person they portray themselves to be. They portray themselves. Me, I feel like how I am on PSA is how I am in real life. I laugh, I clown, I say some stuff, I did a whole podcast mixtape. I don't know who needs to hear this.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. I don't know who need to hear this, but and I kept it going, and it got it's funny. I said season 3 was what took me up, but that podcast mixtape really, put me on some stuff.
What made you do that?
Okay. So for some reason, I can't rap, but I think I'm a rapper. And it's another St. Louis podcast. They're called Polite Coolery. Have you heard of them?
Think so. Yeah.
So now, here's the funny thing. I had the ideas to do the podcast mixtape last year, but I never did it.
Right.
They end up doing it, and they dropped theirs early this year. So when I saw it, I was mad. I'm like, dang, because it's not like they didn't take my idea, because I don't know them like that. Like, I'm cool with them, but I don't know them like that to be like exchanging ideas.
No, facts.
So they did. I'm like, dang, they took, not took, but they did it before me. So now it's gonna look like I'm copying them, when in reality, I had the idea long before I even knew they was doing it.
No, definitely.
So when I dropped it, I said, okay, let me make sure I, let them, say thanks for some of the inspiration, because some of the stuff they was doing helped me when I started mine, and I asked them some questions, but I had already had the idea.
Yeah.
So they just kind of, they didn't, I just wanted to, when I dropped mine, I was just like, shout out to them for, some of the inspiration, because, I don't want it to look no type of way. No, and thanks. So they did theirs first, and then I did one. Mine, I feel like theirs was definitely lit, and I liked it. Mine was more of, I guess, trying to keep a theme, because to me, I was making it like it was a podcast mixtape, but it was still a series.
Right.
So it was technically it was 9 tracks, but it was really 8, because one of them was just an intro of me clowning. I don't know if you listen to that, but so it was basically a 8-part series.
Right.
And I don't know who needs to hear this, and me talking about stuff that I had but see, the difference between me and them is I had a trailer that went with it. I had some visuals to go with it, because I would pretend I said those are the visuals was my music videos.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I ran it like that. But honestly, creativity and the stuff I'm about to drop next, you never know with me. I just get these ideas and I just kind of run with them, and that's why I don't mind helping other podcasters out, because I feel like I can give you the same idea, but that don't mean you're gonna do it like me. So
absolutely. All right. Absolutely. No, I think you brought up a valid point about the work ethic standpoint, because again, I think we've all have worked with people, and we all have had moments where we were shocked of like, dang, like, I thought they were all this, and but thinking about all the people that you have had a conversation with, is there one episode that just stands out that you're just like, that made you realize like you actually are doing this for real?
I ain't never been asked that before. So as I think about it, it's so crazy. It's so many of them now. But one in particular, I guess I could say I was like, I know this is it, was probably, because it seemed like season 3 was the one that really did it for me. I don't think it was that long, though. I want to say what's really sticking out to me is when I ended off my first season with the series, the first series I ever did, which was Social Media and You. And it was a 3-part series. Please don't listen to my first season, y'all. That was terrible. But well, compared to now. But I guess it would be that. It would be, that, or will be the series I ended off season 2 with, which was Showtime at the Apollo. And it was a 2-part series about, dealing with your calling, basically. And so I don't know. It got to be one. It seemed like them series was when they really did.
I was just thinking about recently, like you had a couple people on there, like you had like Sean Anthony, you had I think you had 2 authors. One was talking about, black men. I can't think of their name off the top of my head, but I was just saying, like, man, like he got some real dope, like real dope individuals, man. So that's always my indicator of knowing like somebody is about to like blow. So man, no, congrats to you, man, doing all the things you do, man. I appreciate you even taking the time to even have this conversation, man. Because I mean, again, you busy and always, make sure you're doing good, man. So yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Where can people find you, man, on social media?
People can find me on Instagram _Izzy Bake Oven, IZZYBAKEOVEN. That's Instagram and Twitter. I guess if you're on Facebook, Izzy Baker. Then you can of course follow the podcast page on Instagram. It's the full name, which most people don't know how to say. So I just, but I like the acronym, so it's good too. But I'm gonna say it here: Prodigy Sportive Attestations. And then on Twitter, it's just Prodigy Sportive. So you can find them there. And I definitely thank you for having me on your show. You up next. I feel like what you're doing and how you kind of going with it. So it'll be interesting to see where you go in the future. And definitely season 5. You got to be on there for season 5. So we definitely gonna make that happen.
I would love to be a guest, man. I know I try to be a guest, I think this summer, man, but I'm pretty sure, man, people was hitting you up about actually real quick, man. Because what is your thing about guests? I know this is way back, which got ended. What do you think about guests? Because people always ask you, people always ask like to be on a podcast. What is your view on guests?
Okay, so for me, I definitely my views changed because a lot of times at first I used to be like, so and so hit me up, I'm like, they don't talk about nothing. But now I'm kind of like, still that they don't talk about nothing. Some, but in the same breath, I do feel like everybody's voice matters. And for me, I have a creative thing of peeping like what interests some people. So like, because everybody can ramble about something. Everybody got something they can talk about. So for me, that's kind of my niche and just kind of seeing it that way. I like with PSA kind of, you ever heard of the Roommates podcast?
Yeah, I love them. Dope.
Yeah, they Houston based. I went to TSU, they went to University of Houston. So I don't know them personally, but
Gotcha.
with them, what I like is they have big name people, but then they'll turn around and have their homeboy from around the way. And that's what I like. I like that kind of because to me, it shows that, okay, these people that's in the spotlight aren't the only ones who have something to say. Yeah. And that's something I want to keep up as I continue to do my podcast. I did get these bigger names. I got a few more coming out to end of the season. But, I'm telling y'all, DMs are powerful. Y'all use them just for other reasons, but they good for that kind of stuff too. I'm telling y'all DM people, y'all come up with y'all a script, tell them, hey, and they'll do it, When I had Brandon, who's the creator of the Black Man Can, an app that has 55K, probably more than that now, 250. They got a lot of followers.
Yeah. That's what I was talking about. Yep, that's him.
Yeah, and then Sean Anthony, you see how he interviewed celebrities for his podcast. And then I have licensed professionals. I got licensed therapists. I got upcoming rappers. One of the therapists, he was on Black Ink Crew, that's coming up. So, I DMs, and then of course with this field, and then people follow each other, you just talk, and it's being from St. Louis, and I used to get made fun of it for all the time. People used to always about, you so friendly. I'm like, look at me now. You know what I'm saying? Because people, like I said, St. Louis, Midwest, East Coast, we bash people for being friendly, but that's really how you get on. And you don't have to be, chasing nobody. You just have to start a conversation. Some people be on some weird stuff. I ain't gonna lie, but but I'm not one of them. But I know many of them. But I mean, that's just kind of how you got to do it. So definitely with guests, I feel like everybody's a voice matters. And if it's somebody, like I had one homeboy who totally shocked me, and I ain't gonna lie, I was avoiding putting him on my stuff. And I put him on, and he did it. So I was like, that's why that changed it. I said, I can't be like that. I just gotta figure out who this person is. And if he's your friend, now here's what I will say. If they playing you or they playing with your time, then no. But if somebody's really adamant about it, I feel like you can make it work. But you got to know how to coordinate it. And me, I know how to, do it. So.
No, for sure. I appreciate that, man. I'm like, people ask, I'm like, I don't know if that's only beneficial. And not like in a bad way, just knowing what I like to talk about. I don't know if it fits that lane. But no, I appreciate the insight, man. I appreciate you joining again, man. And always keep doing your thing, man. Keep shining, brother. And definitely proud to see what you're doing and where you're going to go. So. All right. Hope you have a good one, my boy. All right.
All right. You too. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. All right.